Hey, everybody. I see people jumping on. It's great to see you. Good morning if you're on the West Coast. We're going to kick off with a quick poll, and then I will get the webinar going in about 1 minute. So you should see an audience poll just pop up on your screen. Go ahead and reply to one of those questions, and we'll get going here shortly as more folks join. And if you're joining now, you should see a quick poll on the screen that we're going to kick off with, and then I'll get us going in about 30 seconds. Thanks for coming, everybody, and thanks for selecting your answer on that poll. I'll go ahead and get going. Thank you for coming. And once again, as you join, if you see that quick poll show up on your screen, please fill that out. And otherwise, off to the races. Welcome, everybody. My name is Molly Taylor. I'm a product manager at OpenSpace, and my focus for the better part of the last year has been working with an incredible team here at OpenSpace on the new functionalities that are now available today in BIM Plus. Since joining OpenSpace in 2022, early 22, so about 2 years ago, my background in BIM and architecture specifically drew me to our BIM Compare feature. I know a lot of customers were using that feature really robustly even 2 years ago, and had been requesting improvements to and investments in that functionality in order to make it easier for project teams, especially on site, to compare our OpenSpace capture data against design intent as documented in your 3D models. So starting in 2022, a small team and I started investing in tweaks and small improvements to improve BIM Compare. But we wanted to go bigger. So today with BIM Plus, customers in the field and in the office have more tools in your BIM tool belt to make sure that the investment your company has made in BIM pays off when it comes time to get work done in the field. And we've made it easy, we hope, to save a BIM Compare view for anyone on the project team to return to later with our saved views feature. We can also overlay BIM elements into our OpenSpace capture view for planning and visual QC to document model deviations using that view within OpenSpace field notes, BIM Compare field notes in BIM Plus, and even to view highly dense point clouds coming from your laser scans in BIM Compare through our point clouds and BIM Compare feature. So, of course, we've worked really hard to make sure as well that the most field-ready, up-to-date models, however many models you have, one or multiple, are easy to upload for the project team to view in OpenSpace and to download to your mobile device for offline use via our excellent OpenSpace mobile app. But we don't want you to take my word for it. So what we've done for this webinar today is to invite our customer, Polk Mechanical, who's been able to leverage the features in BIM Plus to support project teams in the field, share us a little more about their experience during our beta period. So over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Molly. Hey, everyone. Jeff Flores here, currently working under the product marketing team here at OpenSpace. I've been here for a little over 2 years, and before that, actually worked in the construction industry for about 8 years on the general contractor side. But enough about me. Today, we are excited to be launching OpenSpace BIM Plus, and we are joined by 2 special guests, Brandon Burback and Ben Brown from Polk Mechanical. They had a chance to test out the product while it was in early access, and they are here to talk about their experiences. Guys, welcome. Would you like to give a quick intro of yourselves and a little background on Polk?
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'll go first, Brandon. Hey, Jeff. Hey, everyone. Ben Brown, Polk Mechanical. I'm the Vice President of Virtual Construction here. I've been at Polk for almost 13 years and started with a pretty small team, and we've grown as we've grown as a company and BDC. Our group's grown and a big advocate for field technology, how we can better support our operations team. So with that, I'll let Brandon introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Brandon Burback. I'm a general superintendent here. I've been with Polk roughly 11 and a half years. I support a lot of our field teams in both efforts, right? The constructability and the design side. So anyway, glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, and just a little bit about Polk Mechanical. Founded in 2003, so been around 21 years now. and located in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Texas, but we serve multiple markets, Austin, Houston, and travel a little bit. We do about $300 million a year as a mechanical, and we're built on partnerships, built for performance. And with you guys, OpenSpace is a partnership for us, right? Y'all are a software company, but we love working with you guys, and we're proud to be a part of the beta for BIM Plus. So, yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys for that. Happy you guys are here. And to kick us off, maybe you guys could kind of touch on what do you guys look for in whenever looking at a new program?
Well,
Can we go?
yeah, I think there's two different parts of that. So
yeah, I'll go. So for me, I'm looking for something that really adds value. I look for things that are super, like, I think, passive. If the field team's involved or for operations folks are involved, it has to be something that is not a lot of extra effort on their part, right? So the day-to-day job, if you're on a project site, it is a million things of putting out fires all day, right? So for me, I'm sitting in the office going, this would be cool if we could do X, Y, and Z. And that's great. But we have to think of solutions that are things that the field team can do, that our project managers, that our superintendents can do, that aren't adding to their daily workload, because they do enough and they fight enough battles about me telling them, this is really important. I need you to do this and this and use this new piece of technology, right? The technology market we live in is flooded with solutions, I feel like, for construction. So it's one of those where I'm usually very wary and very thoughtful about, is the effort it takes to do something worth the value we get? So
yeah, so kind of in concert with what he said, I kind of mirror everything he said. I look more so for redundancy and compatibility with what our processes are currently, right? Does what we're looking to add, does it create a new problem, or does it help with some of our current problems, right? That's my main focus, is just to make sure it streamlines well with the field and it doesn't add to their processes.
Great. Yeah. So you guys have had a chance to test out OpenSpace BIM Plus. What was it like, and kind of what was your experience in using it?
You take this one first. I'll go second.
So for me, it was really cool. It was a really cool process. Well, for one, because today, the way our process works is we scab together documents to kind of produce the same thing that this produces in one format, right? Where I can pull up something immediately from a field note, and it's compared side by side to what I'm trying to explain, and I can put a quick description around it. Before, I'd have to scab together something on Bluebeam with a drawing and or a picture, put them together, add context to it, and create something that we'd have to put a letterhead behind, and so on and so forth. So it definitely helps in that regard, for sure. It makes things a little easier to view as you're walking, right? Because it's side by side. It's not comparing one against the other, two different things. So for me, it was a really good experience, and I think it'll be a functional tool for us in the future.
Yeah, and from my end, I've been familiar with OpenSpace before BIM Plus, and it's been a few months now since we got looped in and we're able to be part of the beta testing. For me, right, I knew the functionality before pretty well. I love just the visual of being able to walk the job, from the site walk and then see that in the model. The big improvement for me was the ability to bring objects from the model right into the image, right? So getting the true, gut check on, are things where they're supposed to be. For me in particular, we lead coordination on a lot of projects. So the specific project we tested this out on was one we had led the coordination process throughout last summer. Obviously, construction's going on in the field, so it was this really cool tie back to go, which subcontractors are we doing what we're supposed to? As far as electrical, as the other subs putting things where they should go, and then the ability to say this looks off, and then actually check it and bring something into the model was, I thought, really cool. And it was, I felt like it was easy to use. And it was something that I think just added a lot of value for me. So
awesome. So would you guys like to walk us through any examples that you
have? Yes, I think I definitely want to. We'll share screen in just a second. All right, Jeff, can you see the screen in front of us?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, cool. And Brandon, I'll let you drive. There's the mouse. So.
Yeah. So and this example was similar to what I kind of referenced earlier. It was where we had a conflict in the field where somebody had actually deviated from what they had modeled, it created a downstream conflict that for me to explain in the field or explain upstream, I had to take the object and place it into the actual picture, right? The live picture, and created a field note. With that, it basically short description of what the process was. I tagged some applicable parties and moved it upstream, right? So in this case, what we would normally want to do is write an RFI if there was something that had to change, but this was a internal process on this specific scenario. We made the adjustment in the field with the engineer on site.
Yeah, it's a cool example too. Excuse me. You can actually just see visually like where, if you're not even looking at this, you can see zooming in, right? Well, our sidewall grill is supposed to be here, and that conduit bank is supposed to be beside it. They ran those, they're like big 4-inch conduits. They ran them below us, right? So you can tell, well, this is probably a foot lower than it's supposed to be. And then I follow it downstream, and the thought is, well, this is like a 50-foot piece of duct stock to condition this space. So we bring it in, that lower elevation creates that problem. Before we ever had guys go out there and tell us there was a problem, just kind of a visual check on this was a way to do it. This was a cool job in that the GC really wanted to be part of this. So this is our open space hub, not theirs, but they were a partner in this. They said, hey, we've coordinated this job. This would be great. And they've actually been helping us do the walks, right? So they're on the platform as long as you're working with everyone together. And Brandon could assign that upstream to the project manager for the GC and to notify them right away, right, directly in the platform. So kind of just a cool example. The save views in of itself, we didn't even go over that. This is, I think, a beta feature that I think is really awesome. So say someone like myself from an office is going to go through and take a look after a walk and just start QCing some things. This is where you can quickly get back to those items. So another example that I found, and as I just pulled one up, is you can see we've got a scenario here where we've got everything looks to be installed correctly with our big storm and overflow drain system. And you look up, and all of a sudden I'm seeing, 3-inch conduits here. Fire sprinklers, right? I can see exactly where they're supposed to be right here. I can see their sprinkler heads. Luckily, there's no duct or there's not an issue here. It's just one of those examples of tie back to, the whole point to me of using BIM is so that people have a plan and they put things where they're supposed to go. And when you have, 3 conduits here, maybe it got by, maybe it's fine, but it's just documentation and grounding right away on, hey, if there is an issue here, we need to be able to have some type of recourse, like who's in the wrong spot. Well, we can tell you who's in the wrong spot. There wasn't any conduit model here. So the save views allow you to save that, right, to get to it quickly. You can also share it. So if you hit share link, it's going to allow you to copy this and send a link to any stakeholder. They don't have to be part of OpenSpace. So say the electrician or the BIM modeler for the electrician is not even on, OpenSpace. I could just share the link and say, hey, you're in the wrong spot here. And luckily it's fine. But if it wasn't, right, you have that ability to just escalate. You could create a field issue out of this field note, but just a cool example of moving around quickly. The save views to me are awesome. The save views also save the view when you've brought elements in from your model to your real world picture. So this was an example I made of, zoom out a little bit, but you can see here, we've brought in these boilers. So we've got these boilers here. Everything looks great, and you can tell the equipment pad is exactly where it's supposed to be, all the way down to the floor sink. So this little green stub up you see is our, PVC. It's going to be cut off, but you can see the rim of the floor sink here, where all that condensate's going to drain to. Just kind of a cross check on are things where they're supposed to be in the model. And then once you've moved those elements in, you can then save the view and always reference that again. So it's like I think of these field notes, or if you're going to escalate the issue and it's a problem. It's going to probably be an RFI or some type of change event. Make a field note. If this is like, hey, I think this could be a problem and I want to let my superintendent know, save a view. If you're like, I may want to shoot this to one of the BIM, the BIM team members, just save a view and you've got it saved there forever. Especially if you've taken the time to go ahead and bring over, elements from the model into the real world view.
Yeah, you could utilize the same thing for progress, right? You could take that save view as an application for today's date, and then a week from now checking against that, right? So for billing purposes, for all kinds of scenarios where a save could come in handy for that specific activity, right? Or that specific model picture snapshot in time where what's installed against what's modeled for billing purposes for sure. When we have subcontractors that bill against us, we're a subcontractor. We bill to a general contractor. If they're trying to validate what we are billing, right, they could run through the model and see what's installed compared to what percentage we're billing for. Same thing for us downstream of that, right? If we have a subcontractor, we can manage it the same way. Again, the progress is a big thing, validating progress against budgets. For internal tool, that's a huge advantage to us. Being able to say, hey, we've installed, say we spent a certain amount of hours on this activity. At least that's what we've spent, right? Now, how do we validate against what we've installed? This gives me a quick way to view that and see if it is actually, say 60% spent and 60% installed, or we're say 60% spent and I see only 30% installed, right? Based on what's modeled compared to the actual view of the picture.
Yeah, as you're looking at this room, great example. This was back in August, before we did almost all the rough end of this mechanical room. You can see here, this is a great, like, if Brandon as a general superintendent over this job was walking it going, guys, level 2 mechanical room, y'all are telling me we've spent 50% of our hours. And he's looking around here and he's like, we don't have natural gas. We don't have duct. We don't have fluid. We've only set equipment. I don't see any water piping here besides a couple sticks of copper. We've got a ton of work to do, right? That probably wasn't the case, but if it is, you get that idea of like, guys, we got a problem. Y'all have been charging this code for a week and I can't see any production getting done. It's a great internal QC of that visual of, maybe he could have done that by walking the job. Well, now Brandon can do that on, I don't know how many jobs you got on your plate, 10, 12, maybe more.
19.
You had 19. So it ups the ability to get coverage, right? Where you obviously being out on the job is great, but man, just taking a look at a problem or something. For example, in this case, I might pivot to a later picture. Yeah, this is the latest walk we had. You can see we've actually wrapped it all in. We had an issue on this particular job, field supervision called, major problem, big concern here. And I was able to basically check the area around this open space right here, this open space. That's why this big void right here. This was just a quick tool to say, guys, I don't need to go out there. I can take a picture. This mixing valve's supposed to be here. It is accessible. We have verified it, just kind of got everything in one spot without having to make a trip to the job site. So there's a ton of value in OpenSpace alone, but the BIM Plus value, I think, is even better. The BIM Compare tool is really awesome.
No, yeah, I totally love that. Just trying to summarize kind of what you guys said. What I'm hearing is, using the overlay as like visual proof, and then being able to create like some saved views for like creating lists of conflicts for talking internally with other team members, as well as using field notes when you do need to provide that additional context, and being able to coordinate on the issue at hand, as well as I think I heard progress billing as well, being able to see what's there and be able to verify, okay, this duct is shown in the model, but it's not quite here yet. You guys are already billing for that. So, go back and make that adjustment and then resubmit. So totally get that. Totally love that.
Yeah. You just came at it from a GC standpoint there, trying to catch us for overbilling.
Well,
but no,
exactly. That's what we always were looking out for. So
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's like, hey, you were trying to charge y'all for 50% of level 2, and the GC is like, hey, guys, you haven't installed 50% of this scope. So totally get it. So in the model viewer, right, you've got, well, this is a new functionality. You've got the ability to have multiple models. So that's new. So this one's got our full building model that has everything. But if you wanted to turn that off and just see what I call our tracking model, which for us is just our MEP systems, like what we're installing and then structure, you can get kind of a different view of the space. So by doing that, did y'all just see that change over from like the walls, the ceiling, everything to just our systems and just the structure?
Totally.
So it's super functional in terms of if you wanted to, like I said, have a different view of something quickly. I could have, of course, hidden the ceilings and all that, but didn't really have to in this case. But I'm going to go back to the full model.
I love that. Being able to quickly jump and see what you want to see immediately is kind of what I'm seeing there.
Got to move you guys out of the way. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. So I know you guys gave an example earlier covering that duck sock conflict, which, to me, sounds like that's a good example of a quality type of problem. What other types of problems, if any, could you solve with OpenSpace BIM Plus?
Brandon, you want to go?
So yeah, there's several, right? So for us on a quality control aspect, a lot of times one of the major things we have a problem with is scabbing together a bunch of different pieces. This enables us to be able to utilize that in one spot, one platform, and be able to reference it multiple times in the same spot, right? Through running through that calendar or through save views, right? Either or. Another thing it does for us that really for me is a big deal on the field side is we have guys from all different ends of the spectrum on technology and their capabilities, right? So with the save views, I can layer up different views of the drawing. I can layer up in wall. I can layer up whatever I want and preload a bunch of save views that they can easily reference without having to filter out through a filter tree and do things that maybe are outside of their comfort zone and make them more effective at it.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing, and like Brandon was getting at it, is that the ability to kind of use like a Google Maps type navigation to get through Navis is just way more intuitive to a lot of our field supervision than traditional Navis, right? I think I take for granted as someone who lives in Navisworks and Revit and that side of what we do, I take for granted that someone can't just get in here and fly through the model, right? It's just like this, though, makes it to where you jump into a space, you jump into a place, and you're where you're supposed to be, and the model's following you there. So it's just a great way for a guy to say, I need to go look at this room on level 2, and I want to look around and see where we're at with this. And so, that's just, to me, a big plus. And I think that's kind of what Brandon was getting at. Another thing, and Brandon may have mentioned before, is, for us, it's tracking, right? So knowing how much we've installed or how much hours we've burned versus what we've installed. This is a great visual aid. You can see there's diffusers left to install in this system, and there's some flex duct and stuff that we've capped off. But for the most part, we're probably roughed in here. So as long as we're checking, how much time do we spend on level 2 area B or whatever this area was, and then back checking that. So it's just a great visual tie back without having to make a trip to the job site to do that site walk for 4 hours.
Nice. Yeah. So
this might be a good time to show. Should we show you guys how to bring something into the model?
Yeah. That'd be good.
Okay.
I guess what I was just going to cover was what I was hearing was, from you and from Brandon, basically, being able to use it for QC or quality control, as well as helping with consolidating multiple different systems and being able to kind of do everything you need within like one place instead of kind of what Brandon said, scabbing different things together. I've also done that before where you have to take a screenshot, throw it into like Bluebeam, grab different things and try to get like one view. But basically you saying that you can kind of all see it within like one view here within OpenSpace BIM Plus, as well as for progress and then like for coordination.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely gets all those things, right? It's just it streamlines the process. The more walks you have, the better data you have, the more current information you have. If you've got a good BIM model, those two things work hand in hand, right? It gets everything in one spot. So yeah, this might be a good example to try to bring in some ductwork here. So to bring something in, like I said, there'll probably be a better demo on this, but you just click on those elements to bring them in, hit place an image, and it's going to place in there. And you can see that's a pretty good overlay alignment. You can check it. It's really good to check your alignment using something like a window or a door. And you can see, okay, this is good. We're within probably a few inches of where everything should be here. So like I said, elements like ours, duct, pipe, those are ones that, there's going to be a little play in where they go. But when you can cross-check it against things like a door, then you can say, okay, yeah, everything's aligned, everything's in a great spot right here. And that just allows you to, like I said, feel good about, what you're doing or what you're checking, just to make sure that all the data we're seeing here is in the right spot, beams, structural elements, things like that, if you bring them in. So this job to me is a really cool job. It was one of the, not the first OpenSpace job we did, but one of the first where I've really seen our field teams install and put things almost exactly where they go, right? And not just us, but fire protection and other subs as well. They're on besides electrical. No, the overall, it's been really cool. It makes me feel good. We do a lot of work, spend a lot of money on them, and to see it come together where stuff's where it needs to be. Not getting those calls and issues and complaints all the time. It's just a real success.
Totally. Nice. So I guess looking ahead, how do you guys plan on using OpenSpace BIM Plus?
Go ahead, Brandon.
So, well, kind of in the ways I described, right? So for sure, for me, the most easy plug and play item for me is going to be the save views for my foreman. They'll be able to, I'll be able to load up a ton of stuff for them to easily view really quick. And then from on the QC side, we'll be able to apply the matching drawings against what's installed to validate to a customer. We have to turn in reports in some cases weekly, and that makes it really easy to do that. Right today, prior to this, it was a pretty clunky process that took a bunch of different platforms scabbing together. Now, for me personally, I'm in more of an oversight role, so this gives me ability to scale better. Right, I can, like Ben said, I can jump into 19 different scenarios on projects that I'm involved with and kind of see in real time where we are and what's being installed and what kind of deviations we have, if we have any, see what progress looks like, see where, potentially subs are, subcontractors, right? In this scenario, we could see an insulator, what's been done on his side, right? So I could validate against that as well.
Yeah, there's, for me, I look at this, there's a lot of uses, punch listing, right? So like Brandon was called an internal QC, but it's one of these like, hey man, if we can go through a traditional punch list, you're actually walking, you're taking a snapshot on your phone, whether you're using Procore or another project manager tool, it really doesn't matter. But here, it's almost like a virtual punch list of like going through, seeing what's done, what's not done. Sometimes there's good context there, and you can see right away why a work area is not complete for us. We can see, this is great for documentation on scheduling. If we've got an area and we're supposed to be, putting hangers up per the construction schedule, we've got an open space walk that week. And it's like, guys, there's not even a concrete floor down here, much less, so it's just overall, the documentation aspect of open space has always been great and it continues to be. The BIM Plus for me is just really cool in the VDC world because it allows a stronger tie back of all the work we do in the model to be visualized in the real world environment, right? Like I said, to quickly see where things are going to be. If there is a deviation from the model, what's the potential risk? Might be in the wrong spot, but is it going to be okay? Let's bring it in and take a look. All those things are just like, I've never seen anything like that before. And when you compare that with the kind of user-friendly nature of OpenSpace, I think one of you guys, core focus is make it easy for the field to use. It's got to be easy. It's got to be passive. And this kind of aligns with that. It's not difficult. We looped Brandon into this, I feel like 6 weeks ago. And, I don't know if you trained him very much, Jeff, but he just jumped in there and started going to work. Like, I can bring this in, I can overlay these elements, right? So to see someone from the field side just embrace the technology and use it so quickly, that was really awesome.
Yeah, totally love that. That's great. Unfortunately, with that does bring us to our last question. So that does end our time here for this portion. Ben and Brandon, just want to say thanks for your time. You guys are absolutely amazing. I could listen to you guys talk all day long. We really do value the partnership we have formed with Polk Mechanical, and we look forward to keeping it going with you guys.
Jeff, thanks so much, man. We appreciate you letting us talk today and tell you about our experience.
Yes, thank you very much.
Take care, guys.
All right, see you, Jeff. Bye.
Yeah. All right, now we will move into a product demo. So here we are in a demo project in OpenSpace. Since Polk did such a great job with sharing the screen, I think I'll try to touch more on things that hasn't been shown yet. But before I go through a walkthrough, I'll show how to upload models. So just quickly going into the project settings, under the BIM Plus tab, if you look along the right side, you'll see this Add Files button. You can upload directly from your computer, or if you did have your models stored in Autodesk, you could connect to that job and go under the project files and select what you would like to bring in. In this case, if I wanted to bring in this structural Revit model, just hit that import button and it'll bring it right in into this list where you have the federated model, mechanical, fire protection, and it looks like this job did do a laser scan, so we brought in that point cloud. But yeah, this is where you'd be uploading and managing your models. going back to the project. The way I'm going to do this walkthrough is as if I just got a call from my super informing me of a conflict in the garage. And I want to check that out in the model. So I'll go ahead and click that BIM viewer button, bring in that BIM compare view. And since I know that it's in the garage, I actually have a saved view that can help me navigate right to that spot. So just click right into garage entry. It jumps me right to that point. The other way I could have done it is by using the floor plan, just like what Polk did earlier. And that'd be another way I could easily navigate the model. Going back to our saved view. At this point, I know that we do have a laser scan point cloud. So I'm going to bring that in so I could try to find this conflict that my super was talking about. Let that load. Now that that's in, I can see that this is that existing conduit that was not modeled. We brought it in with the point cloud here, and we can see that it is clashing with these runs here. Not good. So I'd like to inform someone on my team. I'm going to create a field note at this location. And what I'll do is actually mark up the image, make it very clear, and point out exactly what I'm talking about. Add a description. And I could add a priority to this. I want to tell someone on my design team, add anyone else to the alert, add tags, and let's assign a due date of this Monday. Go ahead and save that. And once they get that, or anyone else, they can add comments, basically kind of go back and forth quickly and visually until the issue is resolved. If my team was coordinating in another BIM program and I was creating all these field notes, you could actually easily export all the field notes into another program. So what I'm going to do is actually just filter. Say I want all of my design changes. Looks like we just got this one note for a pipe relocation. And the way to do that is to hit this export button and turn it into a BCF file, which stands for BIM collaboration format. I'm going to name this design changes. And once I hit submit, after maybe a minute of waiting, I'll get an email from OpenSpace with this download link. And I'll be able to get that link onto my computer and then import it into my preferred BIM coordination tool. And just to show what that actually looks like, I will go over to one of our partners into their program and show how we bring in that field note. So I'm going to bring up Revisto. Pull that up. Here we are within Revisto. Again, we exported that pipe relocation. And to bring it into Revisto, I'll just click into Import Issues. Find that BCF file, which is this one right here. Hit open, and it brings it right in at this spot. That pipe relocation, along with the information that was filled out within the field note, and with the BCF export, it actually will bring in, along with it, the XYZ coordinates. So if we want to view it in 3D, we could do that. Cool. And then, yeah, if the design team was coordinating within Revisto, we could bring in all those field notes, could resolve them in here. But I think that's great is you do get a link back with each field note into OpenSpace. So if I click that, It'll take me right back to where that field note was originally created. And again, you could comment back and forth until the issue is resolved. And that'll do it for the demo. Back to you, Molly.
I needed to unmute. Hey again, everybody. Thanks so much, Polk, and to Jeff. I'm typing as fast as I can, trying to keep up with the Q&A. I see there are some unanswered questions. I'm sorry about that. I understand that our team can record these questions and we can hopefully follow up on those answers after, assuming we won't have time in this webinar to address them all. In general, though, if you have a question that wasn't answered or we didn't have time to answer in the Q&A, you can contact support at openspace.ai, and they can connect you to an OpenSpace representative that could provide answers to those questions. I did see a lot of questions asking if something's on the roadmap, and I'm happy to just reemphasize that some things we already support in BIM Plus. So just a couple highlights from the Q&A. You can download a BIM model for offline use via our Stellar mobile app, which is available both in the Apple as well as Android app stores. BIM Plus customers, once BIM Plus is activated for your project, will see a little BIM tab on that app, and that's where the model can be downloaded for offline use so that you can bring it into low connectivity areas on job sites. And the BIM element overlay that was demoed both by Jeff and by Ben and Brandon at Polk is available today. And that's supplemented by our point clouds in BIM Compare feature, which can also be used to supplement BIM element overlay for QC workflows that require a highly accurate alignment between BIM and a dense point cloud. But without further ado, I'm going to just give so many thanks to Jeff for hosting, but especially to Ben and Brandon at Polk Mechanical. The value that you demonstrated in your talk that you can get with BIM Plus, leveraging BIM to resolve issues in the field more efficiently, is exactly what my team and I have been aiming for while we've been building BIM Plus. So it obviously makes us feel awesome to hear that that's working for you. And thanks to, alongside Polk, to all of our beta participants for the feedback that you've provided over the last many months, both positive but also constructive. It's really helped us make this product better. And we continue with some of the other chat questions and suggestions in the chat, wanting to make these workflows even more robust, comparing your BIM and BIM Compare against work in place in the field as documented with OpenSpace Capture. I wanted to highlight just two quotes that I wrote down from Ben and Brandon during that interview. So Brandon, a superintendent, he's using BIM Plus Save Views as a quote unquote easy plug and play for his foreman to quickly view, regardless of the foreman's technical proficiency. That's exactly a use case that we were hoping to make possible when we built this feature, Saved Views. So it's awesome to hear that that's how Polk is able to leverage it today. And just enhancing that collaboration between folks in the field that may not have BIM software expertise or may not be super techy, but need that visual to work more efficiently. So that was a great highlight for me from what they shared. Something else that Ben said reminded me of what we've heard for years at OpenSpace. So like Polk, many of our customers, quote, do a lot of work, spend a lot of money on BIM. So to see it come together where stuff's where it needs to be, not getting these complaints all the time, it's a real success. We understand that investing in BIM software and workflows and VDC departments and VDC expertise is an investment that our customers make, and they want a return on that investment in as much as possible. And that's been one of our goals with BIM Plus, is to take all that work that you're putting into these modeling requirements and workflows and make it more accessible to your field teams. So thank you, Ben, for making us feel good that it's working for you so far. And we really hope that as more folks get access to this product, we'll hear similar stories, but then of course also similar suggestions for how we can always make it better. Our hope and vision for BIM Plus is that it will continue to improve project delivery outcomes, enhancing that return on investment that you're all getting and making in BIM. So now that BIM Plus is generally available, we hope that more of you can benefit as Polk has. As always, we look forward to continuing to invest and improve the feature set. So With that, I'll emphasize that we're closing the webinar out, but BIM Plus is available today. You can see now on screen, to get a demo, please visit our website at OpenSpace.ai. You can also scan that QR code on screen right there. We'll leave it up for a minute to let everyone get their little QR scanner out. Thank you so much for joining us, for asking questions in the chat. I apologize if I didn't get to answer them all. There were more than we anticipated, but we do hope to respond to these questions either directly or through your contact with support@openspace.ai via email. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Happy Thursday.